I worked in Loyola's recording studio still as an engineer, recording Loyola people, also external people. That was a lot of fun.
Mm.
And just generally realized that there were no other women in my spaces.
Sure.
No other women in recording, no other women in the computer sciences, and that was lame. So I was also just kind of like wondering why that was the case.
Yeah.
I know this is a long-winded story, but we're getting there. So
It's a great story.
my senior year of college, I was in the honors program, and you have to write a thesis paper about anything you want. And you spend the last like year and a half of college writing a research paper.
Sure.
But they let you decide whatever it is. And so I decided that that's what I wanted to research, was why women don't go into audio engineering. And as I was like researching, I realized, first of all, there's not like a ton of data specific to audio engineering that is like published that I can sort of research and write about. But second, that I was realizing there's a ton of data about like general why women don't pursue computing or engineering. So not necessarily specific to audio, but in general. And that fascinated me, and I did more research and learned that young girls actually were already deciding in elementary school or, early middle school that it was something that they weren't good at, that they were vocalizing that they believe that girls are generally worse than boys at math and at science, and that they don't see themselves as being capable of being an engineer when they grow up. So I think all of those things like pissed me off enough to where I was like, hold on, who's solving this problem? And so then my thesis sort of transitioned into like program design that people have created that solves that issue. And learned about some really great programs all around the US and like general structures that have been proven to work really well for that, including gender segregated classrooms, and project-based learning. And then I did some research on like what exists here in New Orleans, couldn't find anything, and I started to believe that there was probably a way that I could do it and have it be a little bit specific to what I know, which is like some hobby electronic stuff I have fun with, but also audio. There's some really fun things to do with audio as it relates to electronics, but also computer programming. And asked my thesis advisor at Loyola if I could finish the paper, leave it where it's at, not continue writing a big paper, but instead develop a program to try and solve the problem that I had done some preliminary research on.
I see. And
then use that program and like pilot it in schools in New Orleans and collect data based on whether or not it was successful. And they said yes.
There was almost no research?
There was research. There's tons of research, but it was like I was still doing something that was different. I mean, there's like very general research of like, we're going to have a girls' STEM group. That doesn't really tell you like what they actually did,
sure.
Right? And so they said yes to that, which I'm infinitely grateful for because their flexibility and belief in me allowed me to have a full-time job where I'm my own boss 3 years later. And that's cool. So I did that, and I got some tiny grant money from Loyola, actually. They had a couple awards that I applied for, and we got $1,500, which bought our first round of materials and equipment that I took into schools, and just learned that there was demand indeed from the girls, from the school, from the teachers, from the parents, and it sort of grew from there. And I think I was a little bit naive, which is good, and definitely kind of ignorant of the like summer camp structure of New Orleans and what sort of programs already existed, what the market was like. Those things were all stuff that I had to learn after I kind of got into it. But after that last semester, I graduated, and then we piloted our first summer camp that summer, and we had a total of, I think, 25 girls across like 3 or 4 different summer camp sessions. So it was very small summer camp, like 6 to 10 girls at a time. And yeah, that's the Electric Girls starting story.